Hey, computational thinking, and welcome to another exercise video where we're going to go over the problems from the book that you were assigned for this week. We're going to be working on exercise 10.2, which is entitled Learning C. You don't have a lot of context for this problem, I know. Hopefully you got curious and went out to find another programming language of your own, but C is an example of a low-level programming language. That means a programming language that has higher levels of control over the computer hardware itself. If you are interested, I know I'm not talking right into the mic right now, but if you're interested in learning more about C, I highly recommend you pick up this book right here. Hold on, let me get it close to you. This is the C Programming Language, 2nd edition, by Brian Kernighan and Dennis Ritchie, and that's called the K&R C book, and it's like the Bible of C. This is an old book. It's pretty difficult to learn C, I would say, at least for me. But it's a very valuable language to know because you can get jobs just based on knowledge of the C language. A lot of people don't know this one. Okay. So, moving on. What we're going to do with this exercise is we're going to use the replace method, which we've learned about before, but if you needed a refresher, you can go and look on your own. We're going to replace the word Python in our old learningpython.txt file with the name of another programming language. You can find other programming languages on your own from REPL. Like every time you make a new REPL, it gives you a huge list of programming languages. So let's just get started. I'll move this over here so I can see my problem, and then we will get started on the REPL. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is create or have the file learningpython.txt. So I actually left that in my old solution. Where's all my REPLs? Okay, there it is. So we'll go grab that. We'll just copy the lines. Oh, look how lazy I am. What's wrong with me? All right, so not caps, learning python.txt again. We'll paste in these lines, and we're ready to go. Okay, so we already talked about how to open up files in 3 different ways. We're going to use the with open method because that's best practice. And before I do that, I'm going to have a variable for my file name, learning python.txt. Okay, and we'll say this is file name. And in this case, I know I'm just going to be reading. I'm going to leave that R out of there. Why not? Okay. So with open file name as F, let's see, I need to replace the word Python with the name of another language. So let's look at some other languages we could do. I'm just going to click new REPL, and then I can cancel it. But look at all these. There's C right there, Java, C++, Ruby, Scheme, Go, Swift. Let's do Swift because we'll actually end up learning Swift in your senior year. All right, so let's see. Let's use read lines. I like read lines. I think that makes it a little bit easier. So I'll say file contents is f.readlines. Okay, now I can okay, we just have to print each modified line to the screen. We're not writing anything new to the file yet. As you can see in the book, that's the next section. That's what we're going to talk about next week. So we can ignore that for now. But we're going to work on printing out the modified line. So let's see. We can just say for line in file contents line.replace Python with Swift, and then print. Let's see if it works. Let's just see if this worked on its own. Print file contents. No, that did not work. So let's see. Did I use replace correctly? I did. is this not permanent? Oh. Okay, so let's do... That's strange that didn't... okay, well I know what we need to do then. So let's just create a modified strings list here. And then we can say modified strings dot append that line with Python replaced with Swift, and then we can print modified strings. That should work. Okay, that works. It's kind of gross though. That's a lot of extra code it feels like. So let me ponder this for a second. We're not changing every line. We're not storing the changed line when we do replace. And I don't think this would work. Maybe it will. Let me think about that. I don't think this is going to work. No, it does. Okay. Alright. I guess that makes sense. No. Yeah. So it's temporary. File contents goes back to being the way that it was. Interesting. Yeah. So the best thing to do here, I guess, is to just permanently give that a new place to be. You could write a list comprehension as well. So let's do this. We'll do it two ways. So we'll say modified, or we'll call it Swift strings. That makes sense. And then we'll make that an empty list, and then we can just append this line to make it nice and easy to read. We'll say modifying line, storing modified line in new list, or we'll call it what it is, in Swift strings list, and that looks like Swift strings append line. That ought to give us the correct output, and we'll double check. Okay. And another way we could do this is with a list comprehension. So I'll show you that example real quick. Now I did say just print the modified line to the screen, so you could technically like do it the other way where you just print each line, but I don't like that. It's not actually affecting the real list there. So all right, so we can just say that Swift strings is a list comprehension where we will say line.replace Python with Swift, so the resulting line of that for line in file contents, and that should be an effective list comprehension. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to read for a Python programmer, and it works just the same. Cool. So that's the solution to exercise 10.2, or one solution. There's a variety of ways you could probably do that, but you ultimately want to use the replace method like the book suggests. Okay, if you have a better solution that you want to share with me, then please go ahead. Hopefully this was informative, and I will talk with you all next week on our live lecture, which is at 10:30 a.m. on Monday.